Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Uncle Dad Talks. I'm Uncle Dad. And I don't know if you heard that sound, everybody, but that little boop means that Mike is here.
Hey, that's my new sound, everybody. Whoa, what's happening?
What's happening? Just so you know, we're recording it. This is a lovely Saturday morning here on the West Coast, and Uncle Dad's a little tired. So I apologize if I seem a little down. But you know what? That's okay, because we're here to talk about one of our favorite things, and that is comic books and comic cons. And one of my favorite things, anime actors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are your top 3 anime actors?
The 3 that we interviewed for this episode.
Oh, good save. So in this episode, Mike, we again we're going to do this one a little bit old school. We're going to listen to the audio, and you'll see little pictures attached to the audio, and they're kind of showing you what we went through at StocktonCon 2025 winter. And within this episode, we have. Let's see if Mike knows any of these people again. Brian Drummond, who voiced the legendary OG voice of what Dragon Ball Z character?
Yes.
The answer is Vegeta.
Vegeta.
Yes.
I know. I was just waiting for you to say it.
Okay. Well, he voiced Vegeta. Not only that, he also voiced Dr. Eggman in Sonic Prime. He was in Death Note. He played he played Ryuk and a bunch of other great things as well. In the anime world, he's arguably a legend in that world. Also, he did some things that you are actually into, and that is the X-Men Evolution show. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. He was Cyclops, was it?
No. He was Cyclops, and then he was Wolverine.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. Right.
If you know comics, right, that's kind of funny, right?
Right. Yeah. They don't like each other.
Yeah. Spoiler. Mike, what was your thoughts on that show?
I think it was.
Seen it, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while too. I think the animation was great in it. I don't know. I don't really remember much at this point.
It doesn't stick as hard as the 97, right?
Yeah, X-Men 97. Obviously it's a lot more recent, so that's a little more fresh. But yeah, the X-Men 97, I feel like stands out a little more. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think a lot of people always forget about X-Men Evolution, but it had a very unique animation style, very much of the time, right, of that era, because it was almost like anime, but it wasn't, right? Like it was Americanized, very the way the line work was, it was very similar to what I would consider anime, if that made sense.
Yeah. And the thing I like about X-Men 97 is it looks new, but it also still has that classic look that the old X-Men cartoons had in the 90s. So yeah, I think that's also why maybe I gravitate more towards that one.
Yeah, not Evolution. That's cool.
Yeah. We won't let Brian hear this though.
No, we won't.
No, I don't think he'd care, but
I don't think he would care either. We also had Shannon Chan Kent. Shannon Chan Kent is the voice of Misa in Death Note and a bunch of other great things as well. What we found out, which I thought was pretty interesting, she did the singing for Pinkie Pie of My Little Pony, and Mike, I was hoping we would go a little bit dark on that, but we didn't, and that's okay in that interview. But I'm not, and there's no judgment to anybody who's into My Little Pony. Just I've always heard stories that are very interesting about the brony world, and Mike, I think we know that you're a closet brony, so
don't put that out there. Oh.
Even as a joke.
How dare you? Yeah, people will believe anything they hear.
That's true. That's true.
Even if it's not true, they will believe what they hear.
Well, then if that's the case, yeah, Mike is not a brony. But
thank you.
But we did watch My Little Pony together, so I'll leave you with that.
Wait, what?
We also spoke to Brian. Sorry, not Brian. Not everybody's name is Brian. We spoke to David Sobolov. David Sobolov, his big claim to fame right now is Kaido of One Piece. One Piece is, Mike, I know you're not too familiar with that, but it's huge. I mean, it's arguably one of the biggest animes in Japan. They love it there. It's been received so well here in in the U.S. So it's amazing to talk to somebody who has the part of that history, that lineage on there. But what I thought was actually the coolest, in my opinion, was that he was also the voice of RoboCop in the RoboCop animated series.
Yeah. That's, I mean, he almost looked like he could also play a version of RoboCop.
True. I thought for sure. I was like, you know what? If he was a little younger, leaned up, dude, that's RoboCop.
Yeah. And I've never seen One Piece, but I do know it's huge. And so it's super cool to have him on the show with us.
For sure.
Very nice guy too.
Super nice guy. And his voice is so, it sounds like this, but better.
Yeah, way better.
It doesn't sound like he stayed up till 3 a.m. last night, but that's okay.
3, yeah.
A little dash of our life in there, right?
Young man you are.
Yeah, young man I am not.
Right.
Yeah, that's who we spoke to. And, StocktonCon has been in our, as we talk about, this is the road to 5. And that was probably, that is or was our second or first con we ever covered. Ever. And every time we go there, it's so funny because it's like, we've collected these series of characters. As I told Mike off mic, we're becoming the Love Boat. If you don't know what that is, kids, look that up. But we are becoming the Love Boat of podcasting, in the sense that you never know who's going to be on that. Remember the when they would show the opening, there was always like a little hole, a little keyhole or porthole. Yeah. Show whoever the next celebrity is. That's who we became, I think, because you never know who's going to be on this show. And now those guests get collected at different cons, and so StocktonCon is very much the Uncle Dad con.
Yeah. We have a collection of guests that we keep and pull them out at any moment, whether they realize that we're going to do that to them or not. Yeah. But yeah, it is one of those shows that we've done several times, and it's usually a lot of the same artists who now are friends of the show, and fun to have them back on.
Oh, for sure, yeah. So the Love Boat, I just gave you guys a reference you probably haven't heard in years. So
maybe I'll do a Love Boat Uncle Dad logo mashup.
Oh my Lord, I would love that. Yeah.
I'll make a note. Yeah. I think I should.
That'd be a good one. Yeah, we can even make little posters of it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's this episode. But Mike, I wanted to dive down memory lane, take a ride with you, and ask you, what number was the first time, the episode number, that you and I went to StocktonCon?
24.
Whoa, you really think it's that early? Okay. 46.
46. Okay. Yes, yeah.
46. And in that episode, who do you think we spoke to?
We probably spoke to Dan Brereton.
We did. That would have been the second time with Dan Brereton.
We probably spoke to Jesse Hernandez.
Nope.
No. Maybe he wasn't there yet.
I don't think he was there yet, no.
Maybe we spoke to Chris Marinan.
No.
Man.
That tells you we did not speak to a lot of people that year.
We spoke to each other.
That for sure. Yeah. I will tell you, sir, and you can explain who they are to the audience. We spoke to Thomas Yates.
Oh, Tom Yates. Yeah. Very, very talented artist. Did Tarzan for a bunch of years. He might even still do that. But yeah, super talented artist.
Yeah. And then we also had, other than Dan Brereton, Ruben Martinez.
Oh, yeah. Ruben. Wow. I hadn't thought of him. Yeah. Ruben was great too. He's got a real cool animation style to his art. Oh yeah, Tom Yates did Swamp Thing for a bunch of years as well.
Yeah. Yep. Wow. It's crazy, right? Because not to say that I don't those moments don't mean a lot, but we go from that, because I think we were still trying to figure out who we would talk to, because there's no way at that point you and I would ever have thought, let's go talk to a celebrity up there. You know what I mean?
Well, I think we were just a little nervous.
I mean, dude, yeah, for sure. Episode 46, that's, not that long ago, or that was a long time ago.
It's a long time.
We did another one after that, episode 60. But what's funny is we didn't even list who the guests were on the website. Yeah, I'm gonna read it to you guys right now.
Who did that?
Well,
or who didn't do that?
Definitely me. But this will bring it down memory lane, sir. Uncle Dad and Mike come to you once again live from a convention. This time they're at StocktonCon Winter. Secret Uncle makes a guest appearance. If you would like to support the show, check out our sponsors and check out our sponsor, Tabula Sono. Remember that? Remember we had that sponsor, Tabula Sono?
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's all we wrote in that description.
Sounds like a really interesting episode. Let's pull it up right now and listen to that instead of this one.
And that would have been January 29th, 2022. So we're gonna do one more memory lane one because StocktonCon again. It's been in our DNA of the show for a long time. So episode 83, StocktonCon Summer. Now we didn't get better at our descriptions. Here it says, Uncle Dad and Mike come live to you from StocktonCon Summer 2022. Mike works his magic at his booth while Uncle Dad talks with some special and spooky guests. Why is it?
Wow. Who wrote that?
I must have wrote that for sure.
Isn't it always weird when you see something that you wrote or you hear, like obviously I'm sure that we can go back and listen to episodes and have zero recollection of saying the things that we've said.
Oh, for sure.
And it's always weird to like see something that you wrote and you're like, I have no clue when I wrote that. What, like, that doesn't even look like my handwriting.
Right. Yeah, this is so weird. All right. So now things get better. Episode 104. That's from March 8th, 2023. StocktonCon Winter. Here are the notes. This week, Uncle Dad and Just Mike travel to the lovely city of Stockton to attend StocktonCon. They chat with Laura Faye, Rosalina from the Mario games, Efren Ramirez, Napoleon Dynamite, Crank 2, renowned artist Jesse Hernandez from Urban Aztec. Plus, we check in with our pal AJ Kirsch along the way while meeting somebody who oddly sounds like him. Just Mike does a segment of the 80s where he eats expired 80s food. This episode is full of grade A fun. Be sure to follow Uncle Dad Talks on IG along with Mike Hampton Art.
Grade A fun. Wow. We got an A on our fun grade. The fun meter is all the way up.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow. That sounds like a good episode, though.
That was a great episode, dude. Yeah. I love that we're doing this because we're celebrating StocktonCon. And Mike, while I look up the last one, can you just tell our audience what StocktonCon what it became and where it's at now?
Yeah, StocktonCon. I don't remember the exact year, but somewhere around 10 years or more now. I don't know. Who cares? It started as a once a year show, and it was huge. And I think I missed the first, maybe the second show, but I've been to everyone almost since then. Missed a few here and there since they started doing it in the summer and the winter. So now there's two shows, one in the summer, one in the winter. And it's run by Mike Millerick, who also has he used to do radio for the Pacific Tigers in Stockton.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He has a sports background. Great guy. And we're probably going to have him on when we talk about Stockton Summer later in the year.
Okay. Awesome. I love that. Yeah. So this is kind of our celebration of that. So let's, the last one, episode 145, StocktonCon Summer 2024. So we've done so many StocktonCons at this point. This is last year. Did we get better at our writing overall? Let's find out. Welcome to this week's episode of Uncle Dad Talks, where we're broadcasting live from the legendary StocktonCon Summer 2024. Join Uncle Dad and Mike Hampton, the man, the myth, the legend, as they navigate the vibrant and electric world of StocktonCon. From hobnobbing to interviewing the incredible Justin Greenwood, this episode is packed with exciting conversations and behind-the-scenes fun. Get ready for engaging interviews and special guests like Marty Grabstein, the voice of Courage the Cowardly Dog, and Mary Gibbs, the voice of Boo from Monsters, Inc. plus listen in on the hilarious and insightful game, Two of a Kind. That's right, it's insightful, where we test how in sync our host and our guests really are. Other interviews include C. Andrew Nelson, Darth Vader, AJ Kirsch, Tough Enough, Retro Gaming Nomad, The Game Papas. And whether you're a fan of comics, animation, or just love a good con, this episode is sure to entertain and inspire. Tune in and experience StocktonCon like never before.
Did you have help writing that? Something changed. Something changed from the other descriptions.
Not bad though.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. That sounds like a great show. I remember that show.
Yes, yeah. And that also led to other things, right? Like if you guys haven't heard it yet, we did an episode about Burning Man. Mary Gibbs was at Burning Man. We had her on the show and talked about that, you know. What I really like about what we do, Mike, as we hit our road to 5, we tend to always keep the people who have been on kind of just in the quarters, if you will, right, in the locker room, because you never know when we might come across and be like, hey, come back on, talk about this time, right? And kind of going back to that Love Boat reference, you know, you just never know who you'll see, you know, walking around the quarters of the boat, you know?
Yeah, except the boat is in a convention center, or in the case of StocktonCon, it's in an arena.
Yeah.
Where they play basketball.
Where they play Go Kings.
Yeah, Stockton Kings.
Yeah, so that is this episode. Thank you for enjoying and hanging out with us and listening to us rant about 5 years of our history of StocktonCon. Yeah, I think that's really it. Mike, do you have any last words?
Well, yes. No.
Okay. All right. Okay. I like it. So with that said, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you don't do it, Mike will be sad and he won't make that poster because I really think I love that idea. We'll make a little mashup of the Love Boat Uncle Dad Talks. Let's do it. And we'll see you at the next one. Mike, do we have anything to announce?
We will be coming to cover WonderCon soon.
Yeah.
Yes, another con. It's been a long time since I've been to WonderCon, and we have not covered WonderCon as a show, have we?
Never.
Not even you solo.
Yeah, not me solo.
No. Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting. And then, Mike, you have a special variant of our sticker, right? Tell our audience about the variant real quick. Don't tell them what it is, but tell them that we do variants and why we do variants.
Yeah, so when we're in a different city covering a show, I like to do a variation of our logo that kind of coincides with whatever city we're in. And WonderCon is in Anaheim. There's also a big park in Anaheim, so it might have something to do with that.
Yeah, the Park of Modern Art. Yes.
That's right. Yes. So modern.
So modern, yes. But yeah, that's it. So please go check us out. And of course, go check us out on Instagram. You can find the show at Uncle Dad Talks. And you can find just Mike at Mike Hampton Art. And we will see you all next week. And remember, everybody, we're not uncles, we're not dads. We're just someone you can talk to. Okay. What up, everybody? Uncle Dad here, hanging out. This is kind of like the second intro, but not really. I'm Uncle Dad, and with me, as always, is the ever so handsome Just Mike.
Just right here.
Just here. Just Mike. May I ask you, what is your type? Can you tell me how to write and tell me these things that I might like?
Well, you're doing really good trying to start a rap. You're new to the game, and that's about that. I gave you a new, fresh Uncle Dad hat because your old one looked like it got mauled by your cat.
And that's fat. That's jazz, baby. If you know that reference, then you've been listening, so thank you. Mike, we're going to try to talk to some folks. I just wanted to come in and say hi real quick. And that's kind of really about it. And then maybe, I don't know, I like that idea of doing Uncle Dad raps one day.
Well, I think we just started it, yeah. Yeah, you keep practicing your freestyles, and it could be a regular occurring thing for our new show.
Our new show. And we could do it live on mic. Live on video. On tape, as you say?
Live on tape, yes.
Live on tape in one take while I bring out the rake to take out the hate.
Don't be fake. Don't be late. Well, it already is too late because we're always a little late.
But I'm going to kill you with my rhymes. So I'll take it to the lake. Like Jason, Freddy. No?
No.
All right, buddy. We'll be right back with this. Hello, everybody. Uncle Dad here, hanging out with just Mike. Mike, say hello as always.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, well, give me a more hyped up hello. Come on, give me a hello.
Hello. Hello.
There we go. We are hanging out with somebody who is a very recognizable voice in this industry, who is just so fun. I'm a big fan of her work. Let's all give it up for Shannon Chen Kent. How are you?
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. For those who don't know who you are, do you mind just telling our audience a little bit of the roles you've been in?
I am Shannon Chan Kent. I am a voice actress, film actress, theater actress. But for the sake of the podcast, I have voiced the roles of Misa Amane in Death Note. I sing for Pinkie Pie, My Little Pony. I've also played Silver Spoon and Smolder. Played the Biscuit Twins in The Littlest Pet Shop. I've been in the Care Bears, Barbie. You name it, I've done it.
Mike, I know you love the Care Bears, so how does that feel?
I did have Bedtime Bear when I was a kid. Yes. What Care Bear were you?
Well, I played like a little creature named Tweezle, but I wasn't actually a Care Bear. So.
Do you wish you were a Care Bear?
Doesn't everyone wish they were a Care Bear?
Some say I look like a Care Bear.
I can see that.
Ouch. Okay. So
You said it.
You're cute and cuddly.
there you go. Thank you. Okay, I like that. So, Shannon, talking about your career and all that great stuff, Death Note obviously is very prominent, probably a prominent fixture in American, anime in general, but I feel like an American anime culture, Death Note is like one of the go-to, Dragon Ball and, Attack on Titan, right? It's a very big deal out here. When you were doing this, voicing this role, did you ever feel that, we're doing something special? Or did you kind of feel like, how do I kind of make it work for our American audience?
It was one of my first animes, and I didn't really know what I was getting into. I knew reading the script that it was something special. I knew that I loved the story. But I had no clue what I was getting into until we had finished the show, and doing conventions and signing autographs and meeting fans didn't happen until 18 years after we recorded it. So I started to know how big it was after I had recorded the series, but no, I had no clue.
Mike, what do you think is the magic that happens when you do these films like that, and these voiceover work, and then you don't see the translation for a while? How do you think we get there?
Well, I think it's like a lot of movies that maybe come out and maybe they don't have a great theatrical release, but then somehow later when they come to video or streaming or whatever, on tape maybe, they get a cult following and then it really picks up. So I think it's just the luck of it happening, but also that it has to be a good work, right?
So for you, since you're doing that, what has been one of the most memorable moments in the con world with Death Note?
One of the most memorable moments, I would say my first con, which was SAC Anime. My first con with Death Note. I'd been doing some cons with My Little Pony, but the SAC Anime one was huge, and getting to meet everyone was so amazing and overwhelming, and just actually seeing what an impact the show has made it was mind-blowing.
I love that. And talking about My Little Pony, we all know about the infamous audience that My Little Pony has. If you don't mind me asking you, have you ever had an awkward moment ever happen with that audience?
No awkward moments. I think a lot of the My Little Pony fans, I think it can be such a misconception. Okay. They are the kindest, sweetest, gentlest fans. They're all about friendship being magic and having a community. And a lot of them too are like black sheeps of the family, or ex-military, or have anxiety or or some are struggling with something, and they've been able to find this beautiful through line and of like acceptance with themselves and with the show. So yes, I haven't had. I mean, you get your quirky people at every con, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, come on, Mike. I know you can talk to that.
I mean, I'm quirky. I'm sitting right in front of you. Yeah, yeah. What about a? Why isn't there a Care Bear Con?
Care Bear Con.
I haven't been to one, but you guys might be onto something.
Wow, can I host it?
Yeah, let's see if we can get one started. We'll hold it here in the Stockton Arena.
Yeah, Stockton Arena presents Care Bear Con. I think we should do that. So, Mike, before we go, as I always say, what's any final words?
Well, if we do a Care Bear Con, you would dress up, and what would your Care Bear be?
I feel like, okay, hopefully this makes sense. Because we're doing a podcast, Pod Bear.
Pod Bear. Okay. How about you? If you were a Care Bear, what would your Care Bear be?
My Care Bear would be. Ooh, I don't know. I was gonna say Squeaky Bear.
Okay.
But it's because my acting coach back in Vancouver calls me Squeaks.
Squeaks.
Awesome. Yeah, Squeaky Bear.
I love that. Mike, what's yours?
Slow talking bear. How about that?
Sure. I was thinking maybe Burning Bear. That could work, right?
Oh yeah,
Burning Bear. Yeah, I like Burning Man. That's.
Well, without further ado, can you tell our audience where they can connect with you, learn more about you, and all that good stuff?
I am on Instagram. It's at Shannon C. Kent. And that is pretty much it. So please connect with me on there. I'm also on Cameo. Oh, Brian Drummond is yelling behind me some Vegeta stuff. You will hear him up next. But yeah, I'm also on Cameo. I think you can find me under Shannon C. Kent as well on Cameo, or it might just be my full name.
Awesome. If it's okay with you, can we get one voice line from Death Note? Is that okay?
Of course. If I see you with another girl, I'll kill her.
I've been told that before. And we'll be right back after this break. What up, everybody? Uncle Dad here, hanging out with David. How do I say your last name? I don't want to say it wrong. Sobolov. I got that, Mike.
You did great.
I know, thank you. I have such high anxiety with last names, so I always got to make sure I don't say it wrong. So
they're not always that easy.
They're not. They're definitely not. See, he understands, Mike.
I understand too. Sure.
Thank you. David, for our audience that doesn't know a lot about you, can you tell them kind of who you are and what the things you've done in the past?
I'm a voice actor. I've been working about 32 years. These days, people know me as Kaido on One Piece. I've also done a lot of Transformers. I was Volibear in League of Legends, and lots of other things, many things.
I love that. So one of the things that really stood out to me after we kind of talked, I totally didn't realize you were the voice. Remind me of the name of the Transformer that's in Bumblebee that takes Bumblebee throat out?
Blitzwing.
Yes, I was going to say Blitzwing, but it's Blitzwing. Mm-hmm. Got it. That performance immediately just kicks off that movie in such a heavy way that you just feel so broken for Bumblebee. We all knew what was going to happen, right? We knew that. But you deliver that with such just personal intent. How did you kind of get that formation to get there?
I added a relationship that wasn't in the script. I'd imagined we had been friends, and he betrayed me and betrayed the cause, and just sort of went after him on a personal level. And it wasn't there for me, but I just made that up to make it have more juice, you know?
Oh, that was so good. Yeah, I mean, I remember getting like shivers when it happened because you see him, you just feel it, and it's like, and your voice is so powerful, and so it just it hits you in such a way. Mike, go ahead.
You have to have a reason for doing what you do in a scene. There's something that has to motivate you, and if I just kind of said it angry, it'd be really boring.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
if you're
absolutely.
Angry with someone, you're angry for a reason.
It's true, Mike. You know about that.
Yeah, I've been angry before. I'm angry at you often. No. David, so do you ever like think or like go back into a memory or like an experience that you had in the past and use that for like emotion or to drop into a character in a scene?
I was trained by Sanford Meisner. I was an acting teacher many years ago in New York City, and it's about living truthfully under given imaginary circumstances for me. So I do use emotional preparation, but it's not exactly going back and reliving something. It's maybe just finding emotions that are deep inside that I can bring up pretty quickly and in a real way. So it feels like I'm really going through that. In a sense, it is sort of like you described, but it's sort of like it's more digested than that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And as you're talking, on another note, did you ever think about going in radio, like as a disc jockey or like a radio host?
People always ask me to do that. No, I never have.
Not even your own podcast?
Podcast might be fun.
If you need a producer, let me know. I can do that for you.
Sounds good.
David, you've done so many different types of work, and you've kind of done work that allows you to fill in for other folks, right? So, for example, Drax, the Arbiter in Halo Wars 2. Just kind of when you get those roles, you kind of told this to me off mic, but you say that there's not really you just fill the shoes, right? You just do it. And how do you go about that with the way that you're not trying to compare yourself to that?
I was never a good nerd when I was younger. I didn't really watch all this stuff. I just was into Bugs Bunny. That was really all I was into. So I don't know the backstories of a lot of these characters, and I don't go back and watch them. I just pretend he's a new guy that I've never heard of.
I love that. Now, what was your favorite moment playing Drax?
I spent the entire first year of our run not understanding that it was a comedy. I was so into the character that I didn't. And then somebody told me one day. It occurred to me that but it didn't change the way I did it. Because there's a difference between delivering a joke and like shoving a joke in somebody's face. You have to not be aware of the joke that you're telling to tell it well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that. I was actually kind of talking to you about that earlier.
Yeah, isn't that how you talk most of the time?
I mean, you're right.
No, sorry. So David, you're here at StocktonCon. You've done a lot of anime conventions across the states. What's one of your favorite places, best experiences doing the convention circuit?
Well, it's hard because sometimes it feels like one long convention. I did 27 conventions last year. Listen, as long as people are friendly, I'm fine, and almost always they are. And it's interesting to see different parts of the country and what people experience. And oftentimes you get some very emotional stories, good and bad,
Good and bad. That must be, man. That hits me. Hearing you talk just hits me hard consistently.
I had a fan once who was a fan of Gorilla Grodd in the flesh, but she was deaf, and I'm sort of going with it, seeing what she's going to say, and she said, it's very emotional for me actually. She lays the speakers on the ground, and she could hear me. I was the only character she could hear, feel me really, and so she put her hand up to my chest, and I did the Grodd for her, and she could experience it the way she did at home.
Wow. The power of entertainment, man, how it just can connect us, or pop culture in general, how it just connects us, man. I love it. Mike and I are big fans of RoboCop, and you were part of the RoboCop TV animated series. Yeah. Is there a line that you loved saying in that movie, or that show, sorry?
So for the Christmas episode, calm yourselves. Christmas is a time of joy and giving.
Dude, he sounds like Peter Weller, but like more badass. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I'm about to be arrested right now. Yeah.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me, right? There we go, right? So, Mike, as always, any last words for our lovely friend?
Yeah. Well, that story that you told, very heart touching, and you're kind of a captive audience. There, people come up to your table, you're there, like you don't have an escape, and usually I end with something silly, but thanks for sharing that story because it shows that we're here celebrating pop culture, selling commodities, but there's also experiences that people get out of this that really, I'm sure that meant so much for her. So
this is a place that anyone can come to and feel welcome. There's not going to be prejudice against them here. Whoever they are, whatever disability they have, it's completely accepted here, which is a safe space, especially now. People need that.
Absolutely, dude. Now, before we wrap up, where can our audience learn more about you and connect with you, all that good stuff?
On Instagram, it's David_Sobolov, or my website, Sobolov.com.
Easy peasy. Go check it out, and we'll be right back after this break. All right, everybody. Uncle Dad here hanging out with Just Mike. Just Mike, give me an anime-style hello.
Hello.
Just try that one more time. But let me ask an expert. Give me an anime-style hello.
Hello.
All right, now do that, Mike.
Hello.
That's not bad. That's pretty good. We are with Brian Drummond. Brian Drummond, for our audience that doesn't know, can you tell them a little bit about yourself, who you are, and the roles you've been in?
Oh, a little bit about myself and who I am in the role. I have played thousands of roles, so where to start? Been an actor since the early 90s, 1991 professionally. First voiceover gig was in 95, G.I. Joe Extreme. Shortly right after that, I got Vegeta on Dragon Ball Z. So the first voice of Vegeta, it's over 9,000, that crazy guy, to many other things from Gundam Wing, Transformers, Spider-Man Unlimited, Knuckles in Sonic Underground, Zex Merkeys in Gundam Wing, Ryuk in Death Note, and thousands more. I think there might only be about 15 to 20 actors in the history of animation that have more credits than me. Mel Blanc is one of them.
Wow. It feels intimidating talking to somebody who has such a long, rap sheet. Like, I don't know what to do here. Like, whatever I say, I'm sure you heard it before. I'm sure, yeah. So, you know what? Let me ask you a question you probably haven't heard before. Yeah. What are your top 3 trees?
Top 3 trees. Okay, I'm going to go with the arbutus. That's an excellent tree. I'm going to go with the maple. And, of course, we got to drop the birch in there.
That is the best answer of that question I've ever heard. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Well, on the trees or the amount of characters that he's done? Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm surprised Maple wasn't number 1, being that you're Canadian.
You would have thought. I was going to throw you a curveball.
Curveballs are cool, yes.
Which you don't know, this is actually a tree podcast.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Arborists around the world. Tune in.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, well, so out of all those characters, what one, or is there one that's most like your actual personality? Are they all like, or do some of them come into who you are during a regular day?
Everyone comes in a little bit during the day. You know what? There's not a single character that I think just pops up and says, that's me. Honestly, I'm a pretty regular guy, family guy, dad, 3 kids. Believe it or not, but some of my favorite characters are the anti-heroes, and maybe it's because it's a little different than who I am. The anti-heroes always get the great writing. The villains get great writing. So the Vegetas, the Knuckles, the Zex Merkeys, or Venom, Wolverine, those guys just get great writing, and I love playing them. But they're not as much like me. I think I just love performing those type of roles. Honestly, some people probably don't know, I play the dad on a series called Cocomelon right now, which is for like babies. What? I play the dad of one of the main kids, and that one, I feel like I've lived that life more than any of the other characters, because I've had 3 kids that have grown up. So when I'm on that show and going through all the stuff with this dad with these kids, singing songs to them and doing stuff like that, I feel like this is probably the most real part of my life as a character than any of these other guys, because everything else is so fantastical in so many of the other roles I've played, like Streaky the Super Cat and Knuckles and crazy otherworldly characters, death gods. How do you relate those things to your own life? You just pull feelings, really, more than anything.
Wow, Cocomelon. Now, I can't get over that because that's like, that show is like
Cocomelon. I know.
Because that show is huge. It's humongous. Like for families, of course, but like it's huge. I don't. To be clear, I'm not watching it, everybody. So nobody, But I hear it's like huge. Like I see it everywhere I go.
It started with just the songs, and then recently Netflix ordered a bunch of episodes where they gave the characters actual dialogue. So the dads and the moms and the kids started having scenes, and they wrote episodes for them. Whereas it was just the kids singing songs was what was massive online. People would just put the wheels on the bus on for the kid on the iPad, and they'd watch that over and over again. And now they found ways to write a series out of it. And just being one of the dads on that, I know when I'd see the script, I'm like, yeah, this has happened. The dog comes in and makes a mess of the house. That's happened in my house. So.
That's amazing. Wow, that's so cool. Sorry, I'm kind of starstruck on that. So let's talk about the characters you played and the characters you wish you played. Is there any character that you wish you've been able to play?
I feel like I've had such an amazing career and lucky life. I never really want to pick some character someone else played. I have a couple that I lost that maybe got recast or things like that. I was originally cast as Cyclops in X-Men Evolution. I do love Wolverine, so I got to play him at a later date. But X-Men Evolution had a kind of a great run. It was my first really big Marvel role. We did 1 episode, and a couple weeks later, we were all scheduled to do the 2nd episode, and producers on the show decided to recast like 4 or 5 characters, change up the vibe of sort of I think they probably had to listen back to what everyone sounded like together. There might have been, he sounds too close to that guy, to this guy, and then they just mixed it up and changed things, and I lost, they recast me to the second choice that they had for Cyclops, and I lost the role. I was devastated. devastated. And then, but then my career still just exploded, and I ended up doing a bunch of other stuff. And down the road, I ended up playing Wolverine. So I was like, "Ha! Take that, Marvel!"
Wow, Mike, I know you got some thoughts on that.
Well, yeah, and take that Cyclops, right? Because if anyone hates Cyclops, it's Wolverine. Right? Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly.
So I know you, Uncle Dad knows, but for our listeners that don't know, what is the whole thing behind it's over 9,000?
All the listeners should know. It's over 9,000 is the line I said in Dragon Ball Z in the Saiyan Saga when he sees Kakarot, that clown. Goku appears, and he can read his power level with a scouter. He's got this thing over his eye. It's called a scouter, where he can see how strong somebody else is. He wasn't expecting who he thought was an Earthling to be this strong. And he's like, his power level, it's over 9,000. It's weirdly said by me because his mouth kind of stays open for a long time. The director was probably, I would have said it like, it's over 9,000. But then it's like, no, his mouth is still open. Like, okay, it's over 9,000. No, it's still open. So I had to hold the over 9,000, and it's weird. It just looks weird. Someone made a meme of it in the early 2000s. It took off, exploded on the internet, and then someone told me about it. A couple years later, it's like, yeah, you know that thing you said, it's over 9,000. I didn't know what they were talking about because when you play thousands of roles, you forget every line you say as a character. They'd explained it to me. It's like, yeah, it's a meme. Yeah, like people see a hot girl in college, they're like, man, she's over 9,000. I was like, what? And I looked it up, and sure enough, it was this crazy meme, and now it's taken off to just be a thing. Funko Pops made out of it, shirts, hats, you name it, and I sign it and scream it all weekend if I come to a convention. I don't say it at all at home, but when I'm at a con, everybody wants to hear it.
What do you do when you yell that to your partner?
I have never yelled that to my partner. No, I've never. She brings it up sometimes if she hears something, something humorous. And it's quite funny how it can show up in just everyday life. My daughter and my niece are both on Team Canada roller derby. Like, they're both roller derby players, and they play for Team Canada. The World Championships are coming up in Austria in July. And they were just at a big event in New Orleans, which they won the competition. But there was some announcers on it talking, and when a play happened, somebody hit somebody really hard. Roller derby's pretty rough, and there was some big hit, and the guy was like, man, that was over 9,000. I was like, oh my God, I'm watching this, and I'm like, my daughter and my niece are in the game, and there was just a quote from Vegeta by the announcer during the middle of the game. So it was pretty wild to sort of say it's even in this culture.
Wow. Mike, before we wrap things up, any last words?
Well, I actually didn't know what over 9,000 was because I'd never really watched Dragon Ball. So thank you for breaking that down to our listeners.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
It's bizarre. I didn't know what it was till someone explained it to me a long time ago as well.
I love it too because people can't see, but you're kneeling, and he's like the dad telling the son, the stories of life.
Here's the story of where over 9,000 came from.
Back in 1850.
Fool me, my voice is soon enough.
But yeah, Mike, any last questions?
Well, where can our audience find you and follow where you're going to be next?
Where I'm going to be next, I think we're heading up to Mississippi soon. I'm trying to figure out. I'm going to be in Fan Expo in Vancouver, just coming up next weekend. We're in Anime Las Vegas. I think that's in March, so that's probably the nearest one to this neck of the woods. And if everyone wants to find me online, I don't do a lot of Twitter anymore because it's a bit of a shit show as it would be there. Although I still am present, Brian Drummond VO, but Instagram probably a little bit better. Brian Drummond VO for voiceover. But if you go to Celebworks as well, that's the agents I work for that send me around to different cons when I have the time, when I'm not on shows, and they have a list of the ones that I'm going to be at in the near future.
Awesome, I love that. Go check him out. He's such a great guy. And remember, he's on Coco Melon, dog.
Yeah. If you want to hear Vegeta sing it, the wheels on the bus, that's where you can hear.